Hey nerds, welcome back to CW's Flash, Theories, and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. So season 2 is finally here, and we finally get to learn what happened with the big singularity that opened up over the city, and the episode starts, and nothing. It's a 6-month time jump. Of course, they go back and explain what happened, and it was a pretty remarkable event. So there's a lot to talk about this episode because there were so many new characters, so many new things introduced. But there are 4 big things that I really wanted to talk about. And first is the villain for this week, Atom Smasher. Now, it's important to know Atom Smasher, who the character's name is Albert Rothstein, he's not a villain. He, in the comics, he gets his powers from his supervillain grandfather, but he's never a villain. He goes to jail at one point for taking part in kind of a coup in a Middle Eastern country, and then had some time with the Suicide Squad. But for the most part, he's a hero. He was on the Justice League. He was on the Justice Society. So why is he trying to kill Flash? Well, I think it's pretty clear based on what we know about him from the comics and what was said. He's being blackmailed by Zoom. Zoom either brought him to this time and left him here, or because of the rift that's been occurring, Zoom is kind of tracking down people and promising them he will bring them back to their own time or universe and, kind of save them. Zoom would never do that, but we'll get to who Zoom is next. So he's a good guy. He's just being used and blackmailed. I think that's what's important to note. Don't know if he's dead yet. They kind of implied he died based on all that radiation he absorbed, but we'll see. It's possible that he could still come back. But that takes us to Zoom. Zoom is not Professor Zoom. These are 2 separate villains. Professor Zoom is Eobard Thawne, who was the villain in season 1, who took over Harrison Wells. That is not who Zoom is. Zoom is a separate villain. You could say he was his successor, his protege. The new Zoom's real name is Hunter Zolomon, and that's spelled with a Z. And he's got a really complicated history. He's much more associated with Wally West than actually Barry Allen. But he's also gone by the alias of Reverse Flash. Now, he's not a traditional speedster like you would expect from Flash or any of the Flash family, or even Thawne. His body interacts with time differently, so he can essentially manipulate that pace at which his body interacts with time, which gives him the impression of super speed. So he's not really moving at super speed. It's just the idea would be like he's slowing down time around him, but he's still moving at the same speed. So it looks like he's going super fast. It will be interesting how that takes place in the show, because that's a really powerful ability. Because Barry can only run as fast as he can, but Zoom can always slow down time. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays off. Now, the fantastic thing about this character is we haven't seen him yet, but we know he is going to be voiced by Tony Todd, who just does, he's an amazing actor with an amazing voice. So it'll be really great when we finally get to see him. Now, we haven't seen really the costume yet, but it's been hinted at and rumored that it's actually going to be more blue instead of yellow like it is in the comics. And the blue is a throwback and reference to the original Flash TV show, the character of Pollux, who was essentially the same idea of a reverse Flash or a counter Flash, things like that. So it's a nice throwback there to that original show, which they've been doing a lot, which is fantastic. So it'll be really interesting to see what Zoom looks like and how they show his powers different from Barry's once he finally does make his appearance. Now, I talked at the beginning about the singularity and how it got stopped, and that brings up Firestorm. Now, we don't know what the end fate is going to be of Firestorm. Right now, it seems like there is no more Firestorm. Ronnie's dead. That's the end of it. But there's 2 things that I think need to be considered here, and that's 1, Ronnie isn't dead. He is just trapped on one of these parallel Earths, parallel universes. So it's possible he can't come back, but until that time, I think it's very likely that Ronnie's side of Firestorm is going to be replaced by Jason Rush. And Jason appeared in the show when they were trying to hunt down Ronnie in Firestorm and figure out what had happened. And in Earth 2 and on the Batman Brave and the Bold, Jason is one half of Firestorm. So I think it's very possible that Jason is going to fill in for Ronnie and become the body and the kind of vessel for Firestorm to use. And this makes sense because we know Firestorm actually does appear in the Legends of Tomorrow show. So this is another great tie-in to the comics and to those kind of alternate Earths that DC has. But we'll see. We don't know. Ronnie could come back before that time since Legends of Tomorrow does have a mid-season start point. So there's time for things to play out. But that takes us to the last reveal of this week, and that was Jay Garrick coming in at the very end and saying, "Your world's in danger." Now, Jay Garrick is the original Golden Age Flash. He was DC's first Flash character. His helmet is a World War I style British Army helmet. He was a founding member of the Justice Society of America, which I should point out Atom Smasher was a member of. So we're getting a lot of play with that original kind of Golden Age team. And once DC switched to the Silver Age, he was moved to a parallel universe, which is what we're seeing here. He's a very interesting character. He's appeared in a lot of different things. Batman Brave and the Bold. If you haven't seen Young Justice yet, that is a good take on pretty much the entire Flash family. You see Jay Garrick, Wally West, Barry Allen, and you even see Impulse from the future. I'm forgetting his actual name, but so you get an idea of the relationship surrounding all of these characters. And Jay Garrick, I think, is going to play a very significant role. He's taking over that role of the mentor that Harrison Wells had in season 1. And next week, we really get to see that mentorship in action. The episode's actually titled "The Flash of Two Worlds," which is a reference back to a comic when we first met those two in the same issue. So a lot going on. What do you think about Zoom, and what do you think about Ronnie's fate? Because those are the two big questions right now, and what's going to happen with Firestorm. So tell me what you think. What did you think of this episode? I thought it was a great way to start the season. They dealt with Barry's survivor's guilt, and I think they've established that the team is coming back together. The stuff with his dad kind of broke my heart, but I get it. What did you think? So leave me some comments. Tell me what you think and what you're looking forward to in season 2. But until next week, this has been Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd, and this has been CW's Flash, Theories and Conspiracies.